everyone, welcome to Word Time with Miss Markee. I'm Miss Markee and I'm so glad you're here. Let's see what the letter sounds we're talking about today are. Today we have two letters that we're talking about. We're talking about Q and X. Both of these letters make sounds that have the K sound in them. So when we say Q, it has that K sound, just like a K. And the same with X. When we say X, it sounds like a K and an S. And there's a U with the Q because U always goes with Q. So the U and the Q together make that KW sound. Some words that start with Q are quiet, like shh, quiet, and quilt. We have a quilt here that you can see. A quilt is made with little different pieces of fabric. You can see these ones all have different little patterns. And this one even has some letters on it. It says L-O-V-E. Do you know what that spells? It spells love. So this is just a little quilt. You might have a bigger quilt that could go over like your whole bed, or a little one that you could hang up on the wall. So X can make that KS sound in a lot of words, like excited, and at the end of words like fox. It can also, in some words, make the Z sound in words like xylophone, which is that little musical instrument that you can play. Here are some little rhymes for the letter X, and I have one for Q too, but we'll do X first. So this one is like the hokey pokey. So it says you put the X in, and maybe you could even make an X with your fingers or with your arms. So you put the X in, you take the X out, you put the X in, and you mix it all about. You find a little fox and you put it in a box, and that's what it's all about, X. And here's the one for Q. So we have quiet quail, and a quail is this bird here, kind of like a chicken or a turkey. Quiet quail. So this is to the tune of Farajaka. So quiet quail, on her quilt, on her quilt. The queen says it's a quarter, the queen says it's a quarter. Quiet quail, quiet quail. Today I brought some animal books for X and Q. So we have X is for X-ray fish and Q is for quokka. Let's look at the X-ray fish one first. X is for X-ray fish. These are part of a series of books where it goes through the whole alphabet and has an animal for each one. And this one is illustrated by Mark Pattenton. So X is for X-ray fish. X-ray fish live in rivers in South America. And then this book shows other pictures of X-ray fish and what an X-ray is. You might get an X-ray of yourself to see your bones, or this looks like a different animal, like a type of dog or something that got an X-ray. It says X is an extra. The X-ray fish has an extra fin on its back. And X is an expert. Animal experts are called biologists. X is in 6. Can you spot all 6 X-ray fish hiding here? So let's count. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a little one down here, 6 X-ray fish. Q is for quokka. This one is illustrated by Jean Claude. Q is for quokka. Quokkas live in Australia. You find most of them on the Rottnest Island, which is right off of Australia there. It says Q is for quirky. These adorable animals seem like they're always smiling. Quokkas poke their tongues out. It might look silly, but it helps keep them cool. Wow, there's more pictures of quokka, and Q is for quoll, which is another furry animal that lives in Australia too. And then, so this one's a quoll, and then there's more Australian animals like a koala bear and wombat. There are lots of Australian animals. It says Q is for quick. People love to take pictures with quokkas, but you have to be speedy. Take a photo before they hop away. Looks like they hop kind of like the kangaroos. And then Q is for quiet. It's time for our furry friends to have a nap in the shade. Shh, quiet, they're sleeping. The end. So to make our quilt, we're going to take some tape. It can be like regular clear tape. I have some blue painter's tape, which makes it a little bit easier for you to see as you watch me do this. So I'm going to take a piece, and tear it, and then stick it on my paper across the page. And then take another piece and go across this way. So you can see now we have an X shape. We can keep going, add some more. You could also make other designs. You can make squares or triangles. We're going to do some more X's today. There we go. We have the outline of our quilt. There we go. Another X. Then we can use some crayons to color in the different sections of our quilt. So you can take crayon and color in one section, one color. I'm using some yellow for this section. Then I brought some other materials that might make some different patterns on our quilt. Have some cardboard and some bubble wrap. So if I put the bubble wrap under our quilt page here, and then use my crayons on top, and just kind of color over it like that. It makes a different kind of texture or pattern on the paper. This one you might not be able to see too well, but I can definitely feel that it's bumpy under there. Let's see. I'm going to try the cardboard. Put that under here, under the quilt. Some blue. Oh yeah, I can even hear it. It's bumpy, and when I move the crayon across it, it makes kind of a sound. It's a quiet sound, but if you listen, you can hear it. And it makes a different texture on our quilt. So just like this quilt had the different patterns and the different squares, our quilt will have some different textures and patterns too. We could just color in this section. You could also draw things if you want. If you want to make your own designs, you could draw like some polka dots or some other shapes, stars, flowers. You can design your own quilt. You can do stripes. Then, when you're all done, you can either leave the tape. If it's clear tape, you won't even really be able to see it. If you're using this kind of tape, you can try to carefully peel it off. But it might rip your paper, so you might leave it, and it can just be part of your project. You can fold the ends around the paper. Like this. Goes over so they don't stick to things. And there's your little quilt. You could hang it up, or it could be like a little blanket for a little stuffed animal or doll toy. Keep them nice and cozy. Everyone, Phoneme is here. Hi, Phoneme the feline. Hey, let's tell Phoneme what sounds we talked about today. So we talked about 2 letters today. Yeah, we talked about letter Q and letter X. Yeah, and we made a quilt. Oh, Phoneme, do you want to experience what it's like to be covered up with a quilt? Yeah, I bet you do. It sounds pretty cozy. Here, you can go in between the quilts. We made this one, and then we can cover you up. Oh, Phoneme. Oh, I think Phoneme's gonna fall asleep. Oh, let's be quiet. Oh, good night, Phoneme. We hope that you can try making a quilt at home and maybe find other things that you're really excited about that have an X or a Q in them around your house or neighborhood. And maybe just like Phoneme, you'll curl up and just have an exquisite, quiet nap. Don't forget to follow us on Talking is Teaching in Springfield, Vermont for more activities and ideas of things you can do at home and in our community. We'll see you next time. Bye!